Let's look at the key concepts in poverty, the key terms that we are supposed to understand in order for us to understand what poverty is all about. Yeah, so the first key term is called absolute poverty. Absolute poverty is a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, health, shelter, education, and information. Yeah, it depends not only on income but also on access to services. So absolute poverty, it's when people cannot afford the basic needs, the things that everyone is supposed to have. They can't afford education, food, safe drinking water, a clean environment. They can't afford health care, shelter. Yeah, and they cannot easily have access to services, for example, banking services, loan services, education services. It is what we call. Another key term is relative poverty. This is a standard which is measured in terms of the society in which an individual lives, and it therefore differs from country to country and over time. Yeah, relative poverty is measured in terms of the society where you live. For example, a poor person in Uganda is not a poor person in America. A poor person in America may actually be a rich person in Uganda. So it depends on where you are living, yeah, and the time. Yeah. For example, a rich person in the 1990s is not compared to a rich person in the 2000s. Yeah, and that is what we call relative poverty. It is a standard which is measured in terms of society in which an individual lives, and it differs from country to country and over time. Another key term is poverty line. Poverty line is the minimum level of income deemed adequate in a particular country. The minimum level of income that a person is supposed to be receiving on a daily in order for them not to be regarded as poor. Yeah, and if you earn below that, you're regarded as poor. Yeah, and the poverty line is important for comparisons of countries. They compare themselves. And in 2008, the World Bank revised its international poverty line to $1.25 per day. Any person who earns $1.25 per day and above is not a poor person, which is something like 4,500 in Ugandan shillings. Yeah, so that is the poverty line, the minimum level of income someone is supposed to receive on a daily. Another term is poverty trap. Poverty trap is a state where poverty tends to persist due to self-reinforcing mechanisms. Yeah, things that you cannot control when poverty stays for a long time in the area. Yeah, for example, due to things like lack of access to insurance, population growth in the country, a degraded environment, and then economic growth. And that is a poverty trap, where poverty tends to be persistent due to self-reinforcing mechanisms. Objective poverty. Something that is objective is something that is based on true information or information that was collected by researchers. So for objective poverty, the studies use information collected via variables whose measurements come from researchers' direct observation and give a high degree of objectivity. Yeah, and the most commonly used variables for measurement of poverty is household income and expenditure. They look at the household income, how much they earn, and how they spend to measure poverty. And that is objective poverty. It is based on information that is gotten by researchers from direct observation. They see for themselves what happens. Then we have subjective poverty. Subjective is something that is based on the perception of an individual, their emotions, their feelings, their attitudes. So here the studies are based on the perception that individuals or households themselves have of their situation. Yeah, how people perceive what? Poverty, how they feel about poverty, their attitude towards poverty. And that is subjective poverty. It depends on the perception of the individuals and the households themselves. Yeah. And those were the key terms in poverty. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to join and become a member of the Meshi Academy by tapping on the blue button.